You're going to see.
Thank you, madam. So, again, my name is Subedi. I am a president of the Bhutanese community in Syracuse now. I was before, and then in the meantime, we had election, and I was off for 2 years, but I was very active in the community, doing a lot of things. So again, I felt the need of getting back to the chairman position, and I'm back again. So the way a program flows, we have a video that we made a couple weeks back for our 10th annual event. And there's some Nepali talk. You might feel bored, but don't feel it bored. Let me explain if you have any question after that. But the three Nepali speakers, the first part of the video were two seniors. They are living in their own home. They are saying that we lived so long in the refugee camp, and then finally we are here, and my grandchild owned the home, but the house, and we are living in our own house. The other gentleman who describes about his services in the community as a volunteer, and then helping the kids in teaching the Nepali language to preserve our own language and culture. And rest of the videos are in English. Most of the things that we came as a refugee and hard working time, make a lot of transitional stage of living with education, jobs, and they're describing their own life stories. So before that, I like to acknowledge two of our senior members of our community. Hari Adhikari, who is a veteran, I can say veteran, he is a founder of Bhutanese community in Syracuse. Also a Bhutanese community leader who initiated the third country resettlement program from Nepal. And he was also a very critical advocate for the Bhutanese refugee, for the deportation going back to Bhutan. And there was many times bilateral talk between Nepal and Bhutan, and never got to the conclusion. And the third country resettlement program is also options for us. So that is the time where in 2006-07 advocated. And Faza, who is one of the intellectual men in the community, is a PhD student at SUNY ESF. And he has gone a lot of experiences in his life working for UNHCR and many NGOs and INGOs in the world. And he brought a lot of talents and skills for our community, so we are very fortunate to have in our community. Bob, who is our true volunteers in the community. Actually, we are driving his car today and pulling in the VA location for parking. But he is the man who loves in his dear heart the Bhutanese. He likes the Nepali food, he likes the lifestyle of Bhutanese Nepali, and except his bedtime, the rest of the time he will be in our community. Right, Bob?
Yes, true.
Thank you. Another gentleman, Sergeant Nepal, he was treasurer for the Bhutanese Community Board for the prior board time, and I'm also looking for his great support for the community because he's young, talented, and a good guy. And Persu, finally, is this man always work for these videos and pictures and make people look beautiful, on the photography and computer. So thank you, Persu, for joining me. So we will enjoy the first part of the video, and I will start my speech, and then I will let Hari to correct me if I'm wrong, and I will let Ritika to jump in, because she did a lot of research about the Bhutanese, and she has a lot of findings about that too. So I will let you to speak to. And Lisa, thank you for connecting all this, make it happen. She's to me all the time, door knocking. So Joy, what is happening? Did you email back to Emma? What is happening? You didn't send the photo, right? So thank you for keeping me alert all the time. Thank you. So let's enjoy the video.
अहिले हामीलाई भाइले दिन हिँड भएका थियौँ। अहिले जे होस् अमेरिका सरकारले संस्थाले ल्याइदिएकाले गर्दा मान्छेले घर किनेर घरमा बेच्न राखेका छौँ, राम्रै बसेका छौँ।
Hello, I'm Jiwan. I'm NP working at St. Joseph Hospital here in Syracuse. I thank BCS for this opportunity to share how I got to be NP here. Well, I could put it in a nutshell, but it's very difficult to sum up my whole stories in like 1 minute. But when I came in 2001, I guess around 2001, I had my BTech in food science in Nepal. And I had thought that I would have a great job, I would line up with the opportunities here. But once I came in here, everything was different. Well, I worked at night as a security guard, and I often during the day as a construction worker. And well, these two jobs, I couldn't have sustained without these jobs. It took a while to figure out like how to juggle between two jobs. So it wasn't easy. Like often I was hungry. Often I would go without money. Often I would go without train fare. I would often go to college with my toothbrush in the pocket and a bag. I would brush my teeth in the college, and I go to school, college classes, attend the classes, and come back outside and sleep in the sofa often. So it was an easy job. But have a faith in yourself, have a determination. It is your conscious and deliberate effort. When you remain focused on your studies, you can do it, no matter what comes. There were innumerable pressures on me. I did not yield to that pressures even at once. Like, if I had no determination.
So I don't want to take too long time to go back and tell about the how we ended up in the refugee camp. But to make it short, our generations who had taken from Nepal hundreds of years ago for filling the lands to work in the country in Bhutan, working on the construction, building the roads, buildings, filling the lands, and doing a lot of agricultural work. So that's how the southern part of the Bhutan, where Nepali speaking Bhutanese were living so happily in their beloved country, Bhutan. But lately, when the monarchy grew on the power, they felt that the southern part of the Bhutanese will come over their power, kingship, and take their power. So as Hari said on the speech, the king brought the policy one nation, one people for balancing the population from Bhutanese living in the southern part of the Bhutan, which is Nepali speaking population, with the other tribe that living on the other part of the country. So in 1988, so one of the leader is still in Nepal, he's alive, and he proposed to the king that we want human rights. We want freedom of education, freedom of religion, freedom of culture, all those rights involved things. So the king took it over and then started making policy that going to the villages, confiscating the guns, the big property owners, all those things happened. And in 1990, there was a demonstration in Bhutan in a couple places that asking for the rights back. The freedom of the schools were closed, the Nepali books were burned, in many places the languages were not allowed to speak, and many of the leaders were arrested and victimized. So demonstration occurred, and then the king became very powerful and become authoritarian, and the armies were in the village, arresting the leaders, arresting the people, arresting the big people who have owns a lot of farms, who are very active in the community, who are educated, learned, and then so after that, so they going to the village back and got wrapped with the mother, the sisters. So there was so much happened during that time, and there was so putting them into the jail, and Hari was arrested how many times? Only 7 times. So, and these people were forced to sign the documents saying that I will leave the country voluntarily. So leaving all the properties and belongings behind for nothing. And some people in the border area and the town area, they can flee. They can cross the border to India. But those people who are living in some far away from the border area, they cannot run away because there is a gate border, and they will get killed or they will be arrested anytime soon. So they were forced to sign the paper. Even my parents, they didn't know where they were going, but they signed the paper that I will leave the country. Same thing with Praja. He has to flee from his college, and he was working in the government. So we came to India, and then the Indian government also didn't allow us to stay in the Indian soil because most of the Bhutan foreign policy is also under control of India. They have such a great connection and relation between the two countries, and didn't allow us to stay there. So we were put into the truck and brought into Nepal, and the refugee camps were built in the eastern part of Nepal. There were 7 refugee camps, and this was happened around 1990 to 1992. All those in 2 years time frame, there were 100 plus thousands, 120,000 refugees were registered in the camps. So initial phase of refugee life was tough, and many people have to went through that life. There wasn't food, there wasn't urination involved during that time. People have to find some roots, go to the village and borrow some food, and this is how they survived early days. And the refugee camps were built almost to the river area, and then when there was a rain or wind or river, so it gets away. So when UNHCR came and then started registering the refugees, got the designation for the refugees, and then the 7 different camps were set up, and the small bamboo huts were built, a couple bamboos were given, and we have to make it by ourselves. It is not a nice fancy house with electric and all computers, fire, water. We have to stay in the lines and lines for hours to get at least bucket of water. So it was very tough life. If we go describing all those, it's going to take so long time. So it's very, very critical life that we spent during that time. So when UNHCR involved, the food was supplied, but it wasn't enough. The equal amount was given for child, which is just born, baby, and then the adult member. So those people who have only the adult family members is not sufficient. It was given for 2 weeks, but that may last for 5 days or 6 days. And oftentimes, as Jivan was saying, his hard-working life in New York City, so same thing he went through in the refugee life. So that food has to be distributed for 2 meals or sometimes 1 meal in 2 days. So that was the difficult time where everybody has to go. I mean, we went through. So UNHCR, through UNHCR, there were different suppliers, WFP, the Save the Children for health education. The schools were built in the camp, but it was not quality. Our seniors who are graduate from Bhutan, or went through the refugee camp process. They become our teacher. So we didn't have any computer system, no practical education system. So we went through all the context book system. That's all we did in our whole lifetime. So in the meantime, there was many times, 15 times bilateral talk that happened between Nepal and Bhutan for the repartition, as Hari was saying. And so many peace march and different approach were made to take back us to Bhutan. Even Hari was leading one of the big march, that marching from Nepal to Bhutan through his foot and asking the government that we want the human rights. We are the true citizen of Bhutan and we want to go back. And many times, as soon as we crossed the border with India, they were arrested, they were put into the jail, and then brought back to Nepal and crossed the border. So there wasn't any solution over 17 years. And in the almost end of 2006, there was some repartition rumors started in the camp, and people approached it. And in 2006, in October, the Bush administration gave green light for the Bhutanese refugees to come to US. And initially, 60,000 were agreed to brought to US, and there were 7 other countries were joined. Welcome, Chol. Thank you, brother. So 7 countries joined US: Denmark, Netherlands, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and who I live?
Norway.
And Norway. And then lately the UK also joined to host and become the 8th country for resettlement. So when 60,000 refugees hit the US, there was more people who were interested to come to US, and US opened the door for rest of the people. So I think we are now over 95,000 resettled in US from Bhutan, and rest of the people went to the other countries, and other countries were very little in number, like 5,000, 2,000, 1,500, like that in different countries. But making a decision to the third country is not easy. We don't know where we are going, and we don't know about our future, right? And Chol, let me introduce Chol. I think he was the former student of ASU, right?
Yes.
And he went through masters through Buffalo University, and he currently works with the Senator Velasquez office, and he's doing PhD now, right? Thank you for coming, brother.
Thank you.
So, so when resettlement process began, there was so much things that involved. Oftentimes we hear in the national TV that the refugees are people who just come here for federal dollar. They are coming, they are terrorists, they are not going through any vetting process. There are so many critical things we hear on the national news, but this is not the things that the refugee has to go. I just want to give you FYI. This is the process which takes so many layers of screening, and many of my friends who came through same process know. We have to go the initial intake process. We have to pass the Department of Homeland Security test, and we have to be accepted by the US government, and we have to pass the screening level, we have to pass the FBI test. There are so many different layers of testing and vetting process that we have to come through. 4 or 5 levels still exist, and we pass, and finally we have to be accepted by the government that we are going. So we are accepted, and then we finally made a decision to come to US. And the resettlement process initially is not, we don't know where we are going, number one. Number two, sometimes we are not allowed to go where we want to go. I came to know later while I was working at the resettlement agency at Interfaith Works for 9 years, and Ari has been working at Catholic Charity. We have a national 9 different volunteer agencies we call VOLACs. And these people have affiliate agencies across the nation. Like in central New York, in Syracuse, we have 2 resettlement agencies. Northside CYO, which is under Catholic Charity, and the Interfaith Works as a Center for New Americans program. And they have a contract with the national VOLAC agencies that how many people they can host in a year is a contract, like a business contract. If they can host like 500 people or 600 or 200. So they have to meet that criteria because it's a funding matter as well. They have to fund for the staff, they have to fund for the rest of the things. So initially I was told to go to Texas, and I said I want to go to Syracuse because my uncle and my grandma was resettled here. And I was denied. I was told to go to Texas because I was not allowed to come to Syracuse because it's not up to, they didn't look after my interests. They want to fulfill their quotas, sending me to the Texas, but I fought to go. And I came to Syracuse, but that does not happen most of the time with the people who doesn't speak any English. So they allocate to where we are going, and we come to the different cities and states, and we have a Bhutanese population, almost all like 48 states now. And lately we have a lot of secondary migration as well, but I don't want to talk about that part. So the first family that arrived in Syracuse on March 4, 2008. And Hari Adhikari was our first family. So since then we mark the month of March as our first, annual Bhutanese Community Day, to mark as a month of March as our annual day. So that we can continue to saying that we are from Bhutan, we are a Bhutanese Nepali speaking people, and then we have started coming to Syracuse on month of March since 2008. And this is our tradition, we want to make it our tradition. So we recently celebrated, just the last month, our 10th annual Bhutanese Day. And this is the video that we just did it from last 10 years. But coming to the new country, and many of my friends, I think they will be on my same page, is not easy. And Chol came through Lost Boy of Sudan, right, Chol? And they have to go through very difficult life in their initial. And we had same issue at the beginning because there were limited families that first came and didn't have a transportation. The English was a major challenge. There were few people who is speaking English. And during the 2008 time, the economic was so hard to get the jobs. Even myself, I applied for 15, 20 jobs, and everywhere I got thank you later. Is so hard time, but I started through Subway making sandwiches. So this is where everybody has to go through their life at the beginning, no matter what. Whether I was a teacher, or we were a doctor, or work in the engineering firm, or we did have an entrepreneur. So it doesn't matter, but we have to start with zero. Everybody knows that. So, but coming to Syracuse, we are very proud. We are very proud, and we have made such a great progress in this community. We are in 10 years now. The first family that started coming. This is our 10th year, and we had made such a big contribution to this community and helped to build the economic vitality of this region and many areas. So during 2008, when first family came, there was a couple families, and then I came on 2008 on November. There were 10, 11 families during that time when I came, and led a great community in this region. how can we together, how we can contribute back to this community, how can be a better community, and how we can help our own community in so many ways that needed every day. Because during that time when everyday people comes, they don't know how to switch on the lights, they don't know how to flush the toilets, they don't know how to walk to the stores, they don't know how to go to the grocery stores, and they don't know, they don't come with nothing from the refugee camps. So we have to find the volunteers to hook them up in the appropriate areas where they can get free clothes, where they can get other supplies. So there was so much need during that time, and we decided to form a community, a Bhutanese community, and then we started working on the paper. But not only on the paper, we made it practical. So we were together. We live in such a close, intact community, and we know each and everybody, and everybody knows us in the community. We are around, I think, at least now 2,500 people after the secondary migration, but still we know all of them, and everybody knows us very well. So this is the community that we want to live just next door. Open. We had a culture in the refugee camp that we never close the door, only in the night time. We leave it open all the time because the door was just next door, and we see what other people are cooking in the next house or behind the bars or other side of the house. So we can see through the bamboo sticks, right? You can see from your naked eyes. So this is the culture we lived for 18 years in the camps. So pretty much we want to live in the very close community, and Bob knows very well. He has a couple houses that he rented for the Bhutanese, and they want to live very close. Even I tried as a case manager to put them into the different part of the city, because there was a voice that why refugees are only going to the north side. Why everybody is living on the north side? Why don't they go to the south side or east side, other part of the city? The reason was because it's the first life that they are starting from their, after living into the camps or after living from so much violation, So we lived mostly on the north side, or in our first life. And then we help each other. We help our community fellow members. We didn't have an office, but we worked from our home. We worked from their homes. We worked from their park, and we worked from many other places, getting help from Catholic Charity, Interfaith Works, and there are so many places that we ask for the support. But we are very resilient community and very hardworking community. So over the 10 years, we have grown so much. Now I can say we have a doctor, we have an engineer, we have a real estate agent, we have many people who are working on the manufacturing jobs, that from the jobs they are able to afford the car and buy the house and living as a good neighbors, like the people you see on the video. And they were saying that my grandson bought the homes, and we are so happy today. We are living in America and we are living in our own house. So we have production worker to the manager. We have a salesperson at many big dealership areas. We have social workers in the community. We have a taxation and finance and people in the community. We have many entrepreneurs. We have auto people, and we have a veteran like Proza, Hari, and these people are asset to our community. We have students at the medicine in the Rochester University of Rochester, and many other medical students in SUNY Upstate Medical University, Utica College, and several other medical institutions around this region. Proza, I told you already, he's a SUNY ESF student, and he's doing a PhD, and he's completing pretty soon. We have counted just before, we have 10 students over the 9 years that have graduated from Syracuse University, and I think there are more coming in. And we have students in RIT. We have SUNY Oswego, OCC, Lemoyne, Morrisville, Utica, and SUNY Geneseo. Professional careers, they go through many institutional, BOCES, EOC, OCC, and other professional centers that they are very hardworking and get their own professionals. We have more than 80 homeowners that live on the county, Onondaga County, and mostly majority are on the city. And they are good neighbors, and they are paying taxes. They're up to date with all the things, and they're working every day, and they're paying the good mortgage. We have interns. We are very proud in our community. We are able to cultivate many. And I just like to highlight one of the great success, one of our dear student community young leaders, Mamta Sharma, who was a student at SUNY Geneseo, and she's doing interns at Washington DC American Public Human Service Association, so which is we are very proud of. And many of the people who takes the job at very low level, entry level, just $10.40, $10.70, and $11.50. And from that income, they are able to afford their car, the finance, the mortgages, the family survival, and the living in the US is not easy. They have to be up to date for everything, right? Every bill. People who makes like hundreds of thousands of dollars every year, and the people who make like $15,000, $20,000 a year. So see the difference. But these people are very hardworking people. They live together. Mostly we are cultural, generational piece that we live together in a family. Like myself, I live with my parents and my family together in the same house. So this is our cultural generation, and many of the families in our community, we live together, and they support each other. They save the money, and they do invest for the good things, right, Bob? You know very well. And this is what we come through everyday life in our 9 years time. So this is how we become success. And we are very grateful to the call that I got from Congressman's office. And just on the couple weeks back that he wants to recognize us in the floor. Because this is what we dream for America. We work hard and we pay back, and we want to be a very good citizen of this country. And I like to highlight some challenges also, not only the success. These are the success. And each and every household now, we go, we find at least the kids are going to the school. At least the kids are up to the high school now. We're trying, we have a better record of tracking each and every family. That's the good part of the community. Every family knows us, and we know each and everyone. And if they have a problem, they call us. We are the responder all the time. And they call us for anything. Whether kids are not going to the school, or whether they have the toilet is not flushing, or they have anything legal issues, or the food stamp letter that they receive from DSS. So we are the responder for everything. And we try to hook up and navigate them for the good service. And right now, the 710 Kirkpatrick Street, which is our center, I do operate my own business on the side, but we have a community side office too, and we do a lot of things there. I just came from immigration clinic. The three families got service today through immigration. We do family therapy session that helps the conflict zone of the family to counsel, and we have that service through Syracuse University. Dr. Rasmi, who is a professor here in the Syracuse University, she's been doing a tremendous job, and thank you to SU. From that, we came up just like one family. We just came to their good relationship back to yesterday, and they're living today in their new apartment together as a husband and wife, you know. So this is so much for us. And we do Nepali classes for the kids and some other language support for families and kids. We do job fair. A lot of people get jobs through our office. Now we have that program that I'm trying to hook up with the different manufacturing jobs and entry-level jobs and companies that come to our office and take the people. I just made a relation last month with Dunkin' Donuts. They have 73 locations in this region, and they want to work with us. They want to train our folks. They want to teach our language, and they want to hire to the jobs, from making bread to the manager position, different level of jobs. No. So this is pretty much, we do a lot of things in the grassroots level. And Lisa knows most family too, right, Lisa? Most of the women that they ask for the support, and she goes to the house and take the women to the different places and girls and empower them. Like Mamta, she was with Mamta all the time, and she was worried what she will be doing. And she's doing great because of her support. The challenges, there are big challenges. Still, we are 10th year now. We have a family still coming from the camps. Very sad news, just last week. The schools in camps were closed. There are 7,000 population left, 7,341 people left. Out of that, around 3,000 people are living. I mean, they volunteer to sign the paper to come to third country, and about 4,000 plus people will assimilate or integrate, or what will happen, we don't know next. So still the UNHCR is working with the Nepal, and the other international communities is also working with Nepal to help these people to assimilate or integrate into the local host countries. But Nepal itself is very poor, and giving a citizenship to the 4,000 people is a big deal for Nepal, because there are thousands of people who are just living in very, very underlying poverty area in Nepal. So it's very hard for the country to make a decision to granting the citizenship, even for single people in Nepal. So it's a poor developing country, and it doesn't have nothing to contribute itself. So all the resources has to come from the other country. But we are very thankful giving the land to stay for a long time. The challenges were cultural integration. The culture part, because we are, the majority of the Bhutanese are Hindu, and we have a Christian community and a small portion of Buddhist community as well. So for the Hindu part, they practice Hindu. They have their own way of life. Even they integrate with most of the local American culture. But we have our own way of living, and that's why we were evicted as an ethnic cleansing from Bhutan, a long time ago. So, but that is a challenge for our people. We don't have a place to worship yet. We don't have a temple close by. There are temples which was built by Indian people around in this region, but still the transportation is a big issue for them to go. So that is the big piece. The cultural, those senior people, we still have time. They don't speak English. They cannot walk alone on the streets. And people who know on the north side, right, Ricky, right? You see the people. And the people who come from very, very rural part of the world, like from Burma, from Bhutan, and it's still hard. They don't know how to cross the traffic. They don't know how to say hello on the streets. So this is a hard part, and we have to be up to date. Anytime when police officer stops one people, they cannot communicate, and they have to call us, and we have to be there sometime. So we, as I said, we are the responder, right? So we respond all the call, even in the midnight. And there are many police officers who have my phone, and they call me whenever they need it, and I call them whenever we need it. So, but we have a great relation working with the Syracuse Police Department. As I said, the other challenge part is the place for the practice for their own religion and culture, the Hindu people. And we have a Christian people who are also big. The second major group here in US, because there was a lot of conversion as well at the beginning phase of the life, because people told them something and they agreed and they want to practice their own different thing. But they are sponsored with many big companies like Drivers Village. They sponsor 2 of our church. They gave the building and they have a place to go every Sunday and do practice, but we don't have it. So we have to fight everything. No. And we don't have money from because our daily living is like $11.50. The average income in the community is like $12.50. When you count people who makes $15, $16 to the people who make $10.40. So it is very hard, and contribute extra money for the extra thing is so hard. The citizenship for the very senior people and low English people, this has become the huge problem. So if SU can advocate for the Congress, that would be highly appreciated. The reason I'm saying is the people who are here for more than 5 years, they have to apply for citizenship. And not only for Bhutanese, for every other refugee population who came as a refugee, New American population who has to come through the refugee status. And the doctor will write the disability exempt form if they have a major medical issue, like a highly depressed people, or dementia, or other major critical medical issues. Other than that, they are not writing. So these people have to go to school at the age of 86 or 90 and learn English, which is 105 question, and it's tough question. People, even who are educated people, feel scared whether I will pass or not. So these people have to go through that same level of testing, whether I will be asked same question or my dad will be asked same question, doesn't matter. And then they have to write and they have to read and they have to answer all those latest civical, political, non-political questions, like who is our governor? And the governor is changing every 4 years. And if they have memorized who is our president, Barack Obama, then that answer is failed. You know, so it changes, but those people are illiterate, they don't know. So it is very hard for our senior people and mostly for the new American folks who came as a refugee and never have gotten opportunity to go to school in their life. Jobs for the very, very low English speaking people, and mostly the age group from 40 to 60. Over 60, they are exempt from the Department of Social Service. But those age group people are very hard to get a job who don't have any English. But we are there, we are working every day to teach our own seniors and help them some level of English. Help them to build a resume and at least train them how to be a good sit on the interview and get them job. And help them to build their life for himself and for the family, you know. So, but this is what we have come through, all those things, you know. Success, but in the meantime is attached with the big challenges as well. So to ask for your support as well, we need interns, we need volunteers, we need your students who can able to train our folks to make some English practice and help our kids to guide and do a lot of things. And we are here to partners for any kind of support that we need. This is very welcoming community, and Northside is very welcoming. A place is a place of many nations, so we always love Northside. That's why I decided to live in the city. And we are very thankful to the county and the state and many other providers in this region. Not only for the Bhutanese, but mostly for all the new American folks. With that, anybody has anything to add, my team, or we open with the question?
I think we want the discussion.
Yeah, before discussion, this is Hari. steady.
Okay.
I'm afraid. We have been doing the annual program, briefing sessions, and all those kind of things for 10 years. And I, as a community guy, wanted my community leaders that they come up with specific things from next year. Oh, in the camp they did this. In Bhutan, we were beaten up. This is a long-heard story for everybody, and everybody knows now. So we are here for 10 years. It's a long time. And as Jai said, there are a lot of developments in the community, and then we want to contribute to the overall system in the US. Maybe to influence certain cultural aspect of the new people also. Plus, there are many things that I can think of, like the door, SU. If we come to SU, we certainly expect something. Let's do some partnership in some programs that you want to outreach to the community. Is there anything that you already have to involve a community group like this, so that they are empowered and they feel confidence in building the country? There are a few things. We came as refugees. This is one part. There may be many programs that you may be thinking of. You don't know our music as a whole. We have so many musicians in the community. Why don't we were thinking of doing something from 5 years now. Teach music. So many other community folks will also come, and then this is the only way the integration really happens. And other parts, like we came as a refugee, and then Nepal, a poor country, he said, yes, it's a poor country financially maybe, and with the hurt, it really gave us a lot, gave us international exposure. I was allowed to go to Switzerland, Geneva, to attend the UN Commission, subcommission and all. Those are the kind of things. They gave us the land to stay there. They invited UNHCR to support the cause. And we, now after 10 years, we want to give back to the country as Americans. Is there any way SU can be involved also? We will invite other people around US who are with our Bhutanese community. We can build a house for elderly people, and then the kids without children in the refugee camp. I have started talking with the local leaders over there in Nepal. We contribute, and so many of us will have a sum of money which can go to this construction of few historical things there, and that will, we always want to thank. As a Thanksgiving, we want to give back to the country who hosted us in our difficult times. And then those are the few kind of things that from next year should come in this kind of meetings. And then, oh, it was great working with you in this project and that project. This will empower the newest community like ours. So I just wanted to chip into this to see what areas we can partner or work jointly. This is just my chip in.
We'll take the question from the stage.
Sure, I wanted to actually hear more.
The Common Council just voted a couple weeks back, right, Rick? that they can do an internal inspection too. So, which is the good part for us, that even the inspector from the city can go inside and look at it, what is going on. The overall housing situation is not best, and I cannot say worse, because we have to work with the landlords every day, and we have to go to the same people and ask for the, as I said, everybody who comes first, they want to start with the north side. And there are many reasons behind it. And that was and a couple of my interns that I used from SU and Lemoyne found that. Because we tried so many areas, like Liverpool areas, Jamesville area, East Syracuse, other part of the city, and which is one reason is not affordable. The second reason, they don't take a public assistance money. Third reason, they don't want to host the new people in their neighborhood. You know, there are so many reasons. And the fourth reason, people want to live in the community. And my example says, I resettled the two families. The father family came 2 weeks before, and the son's family came like 2 weeks after the father came. And then the father was living in Park Street, and the son, I took it to the Till Avenue, which is on the Eastwood. And overnight, without notice to DSS, without notice to caseworker, without notice to anybody, they moved to the Park Street. So that tells me that it's so hard for the people we separate, you know. And there are other reasons too, because school is very close by, they can walk to Bobby School. The stores, the grocery shops and ethnic stores are all around in the corners. The hospitals is on the walkable distance, you know, and the resettlement agency where they go every day for the paperwork, even the advertise, whatever they comes, they have to go to the office. They go to the caseworker to get that. So it's very hard, and the transportation is a big issue. Everybody knows in this region. They don't have a bus service if we put somewhere else. And this is the hard part. So, but overall housing is getting better. The land bank is coming back and taking the properties, and we are asking. And I attend the meeting with the tax force meeting. I attend the meeting with the TNT, and I have my north side friends here. He knows me very well. We advocate mostly for the housing. Every meeting we go, we have a talk about the housing. But eventually, there is something good news are coming on the Butternut corridor. The Syracuse, the housing vision is building a big complex for the new housing, right? And old houses are gone. They are taking back. So we'll get better. It takes time. It's from a long time. So, any other question?
I actually had a question about the secondary migration. You said you didn't want to talk about it.
Oh, okay.
But I'm interested in sort of the trends of the communities and how they're sort of formulating as people move to and from Syracuse.
You know, when the good and bad part, years in around 2012, 11, 12, a lot of people came to Syracuse because Syracuse become a affordable housing and connected with the family members. A lot of services around in the north sides. So we have seen influx of people from secondary migration coming to our community. But later what they found is also for the long term, for the long time, they found the central location of the US being Ohio. It's a big state, a lot of jobs there, good paying wages, and the low taxes for buying the houses. So there are many reasons that they found it, and they started moving it. And the other reason is also like, if I'm here and my other part of the family is in different states, like I told you before, we cannot choose at the beginning where we want to be together. We are sent, I was sent to New York, might be my sister was sent to Washington, might be other friends sent to Florida. So end of the day, we want to live together as a one family. So where is the common part that we want to meet? So definitely everybody found Ohio is a good place. So a lot of Bhutanese found that Ohio is the central location for many reasons. And Ohio, Columbus, Reynoldsburg, Cincinnati, Akron, Cleveland is heavily now the Bhutanese population living there. Not only in the city, they are going everywhere buying the houses in suburb areas. You know, so this become like Somali moved to Minnesota because they have a huge community there, and everybody, even we had a family who came yesterday, want to move tomorrow to Minnesota because they feel that everybody's there. Somalia is there. You know, it becomes like a trend. But there are obvious reasons that we want to stay back because this is a good community. We love this community. We want to give back to this community, and we love this area. So I have not made mine to move. So there are many other families that who decided to stay here in this community. Are you anything?
I have a question. You have to take, if you come in as a refugee after 5 years? So is that
so we have to apply when we are here for 5 years.
Okay.
Okay. The first, when you come as a refugee, we got the I-94, which is aligned, you know very well. So in 5 years, from 1 year, we are qualified to get the permanent resident status. And in 5 years' time, we have to apply for the citizenship. And those people who are seniors get some SSI benefits, like supplemental social security income, who gets disability benefits, and some other federal subsidies. Those people benefit will be stopped until they become the citizen. So for those people, it's so hard because they are losing all the benefits. And they have to be a citizen to continue the benefit, and they can't. You want to add something?
No, I was just, I was under the impression that it was after 5 years you can apply. I had not heard that after 5 years with a green card, you have to apply. I just,
yeah, no, they can renew the green card.
Yes.
The green card is for like 10, 12 years, right? But for the status that we are given as a refugee, and those people who get the benefits, like especially social security income, the disability income, and there are some other federal subsidies program, that will be stopped until they become the citizen. That is the criteria. And to continue that benefits, they have to be a citizen. They cannot continue in the green card status. That is the hard part. And people who are 86-year-old, never gone to the school in their whole life, you know, and have to started reading ABCD and go through 105 civic questions and learn about all the political system of the US is critical. Even for us, I don't know what will be asked when I go and sit for the citizenship test, you know, and those people will be definitely, and there's a lot of frustration and anxiety, and people come that I get like 10, 15 calls every day.
So can you clarify, you know, so I don't understand, and so by way of example, your uncle Hari and Chandra, I know Chandra did not pass the test, so you're telling me that they're not getting any benefits right now?
Yeah, their benefit was stopped for last 2 years. Okay. But recently, the doctor approved it, the medical situation, and then C is granted now. So C can continue the benefits from now. But that was stopped for some time. Yes. But you want to add something?
Well, just to clarify about the elderly, so how many people are in that position of not getting benefits because they can't pass the test? And is that changing with this administration under Trump, or was it the same under Obama? What change? And that could be a broader question of what changes are there now because of the new president. Has there been any changes in terms of your procedures? Nothing? I didn't think so.
So it has to be a constitutional amendment. You know, unless there is something they change in the constitution policy. But this is applies for everybody, and it's so hard for like one congressman or 10 congressmen advocating for it, because it has to come from the top. And I don't see why, because we are legal, and we are the people who going to live in this country, and it's making it so hard for us to getting those people to get through. I know.
And so how many people are in that position locally
hundreds,
here? Hundreds of the 2,500.
Yes.
So another question, so a question I would have, and I'm very glad to have this gentleman from Sudan here. I'm curious, how has these successes and challenges that you've described for the Bhutanese community, how does it compare for the other communities in the Syracuse area? Would you say, has there been any measures of that? Maybe that's a question for you. I don't know if you've looked into that in terms of comparing like the Burmese or the other ones that are, you know, we have the Congolese. I know we have some, you know, has there been a look at the successes and challenges across the different sizable refugee communities that we have in Syracuse? And then by looking at that, has there been some attention by the governments, the city, the county, or whatever, to try to address those challenges in a unified way? For example, I know that in other cities in the country, there's like more assistance, like in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul is a large center for refugees. Like they bring in about double at one time. You know, they have, the county has an ombudsman or a central office that helps, and even though there's many resettlement agencies, the government seems to take more of a leadership role. I know in Seattle also, because I've talked with them.
You know what, I know you asked a very tough question, and it's
I'm
easy
sorry,
question
but I waited until everyone else was done.
I will let Trolley speak about the Sudan, but overall when we see about the refugees, we see a big integration. And big success in this. When you look at the Syracuse City School District result every year, there are 10 out of 9 are the refugee kids who are succeeding in the top level, you know. When you look at the home buyers, you see the trends are growing with the new American folks. When you look at the college and university, they are growing, but definitely I'm not saying that 100% refugees are a success. There are people who came from as I said, like Burma. There are 5-6 different tribal people that live within the Burmese community. Karen, Karenni, Chin, Kachin, Rohingya now. And you know the Rohingya story now. 100,000 are living in Bangladesh. And these people some people are here, and they're very hard because they don't speak any English. They're not literate in their own language and can't speak any of the good languages, you know. But when you talk about the services, we are trying to, as much as we have a new American Forum now, which is a leadership of many nations, that we are together and we try to always advocate for the good things. We have a RISE office on South Side that is a refugee immigrant self-empowerment. Used to be a Somali Bantu, now is doing 20+ nations, people providing services for all kinds of things. We have our own community center that we provide services for the needy people, but definitely we need more support.